All set? Okay. Good morning, everybody. Welcome and thanks for being here. Buenos días, bienvenido y gracias por estar aquí con nosotros. My name is Matt Verlick, and I have the honor of serving in the cabinet of Governor Walz. I'm here on his behalf as Commissioner of the Department of Employment and Economic Development. We are here at Los Ocampo, and it's a restaurant that I didn't realize until I walked in the door today that I've actually dined here before, together with a friend from Neighborhood Development Center. And this business is normally a bustling location, providing great food and drink in the community and providing an atmosphere, just part of the wonderful fabric of the community. And it is like so many other small businesses across Minnesota that provide so much of what makes a community special. I wish that I were here right now with my family or with a friend enjoying that wonderful food once again, but in fact we're here under different circumstances. We know, of course, that Minnesota is going through a moment of great chaos resulting from the federal actions being conducted here, and the emphasis has rightly been on the human impacts, the civil rights impacts of those actions. We've obviously lost two Minnesotans, Renee and Mr. Preddy, Alex. And we have experienced great fear in communities across the state. It includes St. Paul and Minneapolis, but it includes St. Cloud, it includes Little Falls, and places all over Minnesota. So in addition to Renee and Alex and all of the others who have been affected by this, we also need to focus on other impacts, including the economic ones. And that's why we're here today. Many small businesses across Minnesota now have employees who are afraid to show up for work, and so they cannot operate the way they would like to, including this business. Many small businesses across Minnesota have customers that are afraid to come out and spend their money. I even hear from manufacturers who say that they are having supply chain difficulties because they have truck drivers who are afraid to come into the state if they have brown skin, because they're afraid of what may happen. We unfortunately can't make all those impacts go away, but one thing we can do is pull together and spend our money in businesses that have been impacted, like this one. And this is a playbook that we know somewhat from COVID times. We spent a lot of money on gift cards, and we spent a lot of money in those restaurants on takeout and so forth. And that's what we need to do in this case as well. So one small thing we can do is to launch this campaign, which we call Shop Local, Stand Together. And in that spirit, I'm excited to announce that Governor Walz has named the month of February as Shop Local Month in Minnesota through a proclamation that I have right here. And I wanted to just read a few key excerpts from the proclamation to give you a sense of what this is all about. I won't read all the whereases, but here are some of them. Whereas Minnesotans have been writing a story about what it means to be good neighbors, showing the world examples of decency, humanity, and an abiding commitment to making life better for one another. Whereas federal actions have created fear, uncertainty, and disruption, resulting in decreased foot traffic and economic harm to locally owned businesses, especially those connected to immigrant communities. Whereas choosing to shop, eat, and spend time is one of the most immediate, accessible, visible, and peaceful and powerful ways individuals can support their neighbors and help local businesses. Whereas people in Minnesota who feel safe doing so can play a meaningful role in strengthening their communities by prioritizing local businesses, learning about the entrepreneurs who power their neighborhoods, and encouraging others to do the same. Whereas to our local businesses, we value you and we stand together with you. And we are literally doing that right now and have several businesses here who I will name in just a moment. Now, therefore, I, Tim Walz, Governor of Minnesota, do hereby proclaim February 2026 as Shop Local Month in Minnesota. So this is a moment when I just feel so much pride in being Minnesotan. I am proud also, as I mentioned, to be standing with many of these business owners. And we're going to also hear from several leaders who are in this with us, seeking solutions for our state in general and for the businesses impacted. In a moment, you're going to hear from the other speakers on this program. Senate Majority Leader from Minnesota, Aaron Murphy, the owner of this business, Julian Ocampo, and then the former mayor of Minneapolis and now leader of the Minneapolis Foundation, R.T. Ryback, and then St. Paul Mayor Khalid Her. And before I hand it over, I also wanted to then name And if you could maybe just give a wave as I mention your organization or business, some of those who are here with us, some who are impacted, some who are, actually all who are helping. And this is just a small example of what is happening all across Minnesota. We have the Neighborhood Development Center. Yeah, thank you. We have Mini Super La Chiquis, Tromperia El Zac, and The Perfect Coffee. Yeah. We have Kaheen from Afro Deli and Grill. National Small Business Person of the Year, by the way, in 2023, I think it was. Centromex, Los Ocampo, who you'll hear from in a moment. La Michoacana, World Street Kitchen, and Saturday Dumpling Company, both of whom are at Malcolm Yards, Monktown Market, and Oro by Nixta. So with that, I would invite the other speakers to come one after the other, and then at the end we'll take questions. With that, Leader Murphy.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Minnesotans are being tested now in ways that are completely unimaginable. And as I have always experienced, Minnesotans are ahead of those of us who serve in public office in the ways in which they are responding to the trouble and standing up for one another in communities. We are experiencing something right now, a profound response, a prepared response by Minnesotans in communities across the state of Minnesota. And part of that is making sure that we are recognizing the importance of the small businesses in our communities and what they have to offer. Elected officials will often talk about small businesses. We love small businesses. We love to talk about them. What they represent from my perspective, and my husband is a small business owner, the virtues that we always talk about: hard work, entrepreneurship, taking a risk, contributing to building jobs. That's what our small business economy is all about here in Minnesota. And we are on University Avenue that is dotted all the way from from Minneapolis all the way to the east side, with the impacts, the beautiful impacts, and the vibrancy that is Minnesota, the vibrancy that this White House wants to erase from Minnesota. But Minnesotans aren't having it. And that's why I'm here today with my colleagues, and I'm so glad to recognize Senator Pappas, my seatmate, Representative Hussain, who represents this district in the House. We are here together to make sure that Minnesotans hear from us that we need to continue to invest in our small businesses. Yes, takeout, come in and shop local. It's important, and Minnesotans are already doing that. They have been for all of this occupation. But it's also important to recognize that we're going to have work to do when we come into session to make sure those that aren't able to manage through this have some relief. That'll be work that we're going to do together. It's important, but for all of you who are here, make sure you're getting a gift card or some takeout food. Feed your families, feed other families, take care of one another. And with that, I'd like to introduce the owner of this place, of this establishment, Julian Ocampo. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Julian Ocampo, and I am part of the family behind Los Ocampo, Machete Cocina Mexicana, and Mr. Taco Mexican Restaurant. My parents started our first restaurant in 2003 with a simple dream: to share the food they grew up with and build something meaningful here in Minnesota. Through my parents' cooking, I learned that food nourishes more than our bodies, it nourishes our soul. For many of our customers, coming here isn't just about eating a meal. It's about having something that feels familiar, like a piece of home. The past few weeks have been some of the hardest we faced since the global pandemic and civil unrest of 2020. Our restaurants have been impacted by ongoing federal activity throughout the Twin Cities since June of last year. Recently, we made a difficult but necessary decision to temporarily close our restaurants to keep our staff and our neighbors safe. This is personal for me. We care a lot about the people who come through those doors, and I feel the responsibility for the families and neighbors who rely on us. Their experiences and struggles are real, and they matter. Right now, many immigrant-owned businesses and communities are carrying a heavy burden. People are hurting. Families are being separated. The workers are living with fear while trying to care for their loved ones. As you look around, you'll see other small businesses, each with its own story and challenges. We are living this reality every single day. When our neighbors are afraid to leave their homes, whether it's to go to work, to take their kids to school, or carry out daily life activities, it affects everyone in the community. Small businesses don't have a safety net. When hardship hits, it hits the people behind the businesses, their families, and neighborhoods they serve. We all feel it. That's why supporting local businesses right now matters so much. As the commissioner said, when you shop small, it's not just about a transaction. You're helping families, you're keeping jobs, and you're strengthening our neighborhoods here. It's about showing up for one another and keeping our community strong. It's about one Minnesota. On behalf of my family, my team, and the other small businesses here represented here today, thank you for standing with us. Your support makes a difference and keeps small businesses and communities across Minnesota resilient. And that's all I have for you today. Thank you.
When Minnesotans see tough times, they come together. It happens when you push a stranger out of a snowbank, and it is happening in big and small ways across the state right now as we face an assault we've never faced before, and as we show the world what Minnesotans do when we all come together. We've done this before. When George Floyd was murdered, when COVID came, this community came together and did big things. And it included large businesses stepping forward in partnership with us at the Minneapolis Foundation, raising and delivering $50 million in partnership with the state to small businesses up and down these corridors. We're going to do it again. We announced 2 days ago that 27 different large businesses in this state have already raised $4 million for small business, and more is coming. What's important then is for us to get that out as quickly as possible to groups like Neighborhood Development Center that really did incredible work on these corners and the Midtown Global Market. These groups that work with businesses every day will get resources that will hope to continue to grow and get that moving on the commercial corridors. One of the people representing that, Sally Saba from the Medtronic Foundation, represents those businesses. Large businesses in this state have benefited from the immigrant workforce, and they recognize the importance of them, and we need to continue to move forward on that. I grew up in a small business family. My parents ran a corner store. I recognize, and I think we all do, that small business stands on the precipice of success or failure every single day. The incredible people standing behind them, some of whom I've known since the beginning of the restaurant starting, have a crisis every single day when they question who's going to come in, will the workers be there, will the customers be there. Philanthropy is standing with small business, but we cannot philanthropy away this problem. The biggest thing Minnesotans can do right now is the best thing they can do, which is to go out and eat at these small restaurants, spend a whole lot of money, and leave really big tips. Because if we can get people through this crisis, we'll not only preserve the restaurants like World Street Kitchen, but he'll be able to open up the second version of Saffron, which is what we're all waiting for. Minnesotans can do this, and the toughest thing you can do right now is stand up to oppression. The second toughest thing you can do is also the best. Go out and eat. I get to introduce the great all-star new mayor of St. Paul. Wonderful. I haven't had a chance to congratulate you.
Good morning, everyone. Much has already been said about the moment that we are in, this unprecedented time. And what I really want to focus on is the people that we're here to support today. I came to this country as a refugee. The thing that I heard most often from my own family is that people may not respect us because we speak with accents or we look differently. But what people respect is our food. They respect our culture. And that they will show up, even if they're judging us from the way that we look and whether we belong here or not. The one thing they'll do is that they will respect our food. And that this is the one thing we can all do is come together and really understand the diversity of this city, of our cities, of this state. This corner is really important to me because my grandfather actually lived off of Edmond for many, many, many years, Edmond and Dale right here. And this was the neighborhood that I came to visit him. And when we came here back in the 80s, if you were here then, you would know that all of the buildings had like metal bars in front of the windows, and nobody was open after the sun went down. The reason why this area and why this city looks the way it does right now is because immigrants and refugees came, and they decided that this was worth investing in. And now we're asking you to invest into them because this is a difficult time. When I've been out and meeting with small businesses from the Latinx community, the Hmong community, the East African community, what they're all telling me is their businesses are down 60 to 70%. They need to make rent next week, and they cannot make those rents. More than ever, they need you. And the investments that they put into our city, the amount of taxes that they've paid, whether it is their the sales tax that they pay or the taxes that are generated from the employees and the workers, that they've contributed greatly to our state. And it is time for us to turn around and invest back into them. And so as we are hearing from them, we need you to come not just to the restaurants, but we have local markets. Henry, who I've been at to his place where I got to lock and unlock doors to help make sure that the right people were coming into the establishment, that I was able to deliver groceries for people. Like, show up, shop, but also ask, how else can I help you out? There's the grocery stores, there are restaurants, there are retailers, there are markets, our immigrant markets all over our city and our state, that they have these little small booths. Like if you were looking to buy something nice for somebody, go visit one of those. That there are many, many immigrant refugee businesses that need all of our help. So I hope that you all think about that and not just about the restaurants are very important, but think about everyone else who makes up the fabric of small businesses in our city here. And so, I am looking very much forward to showing up. What I would love to do is find out when people want to go, because I'd show up and we can all have a conversation and eat together, because I think the more we make this about community and what we stand for, the better we're going to weather through this. I have said this on a number of occasions that I know that what's happening to us now is retribution. It's retribution for our politics, for our love for our communities and for each other. But the one thing that Minnesotans will not let happen is that we will not let our spirit be broken. And that is why I'm so proud to be a Minnesotan, is that when there is trouble, when we are faced with difficulties, that we come together and we weather it through together. And that love and that spirit of who we are will never be broken. And so continue to come and support, and I am excited to be a part of this month of saying, like, we're going to come work with our retailers, our restaurants, our businesses here, and I'm looking forward to being there with all of you. So thank you so much for being here and lifting up this issue.
Thanks so much once again to all of our speakers and everyone who's here as part of this effort. And with that, we would be happy to take any questions. Victor.
Hey, Victor from the Star Tribune here. For Commissioner also her and Mr. Ocampo, I'm curious if you can all kind of speak to like the dollar impact this crisis is having, to your store, to your city, and to the state. Is there even a way to quantify it yet?
Well, I would say probably the business owners would be the ones who have the nearest term real-time sense of what it looks like for their establishment. We, of course, at the department collect statistics in partnership with the federal government, including jobs numbers, unemployment figures, wage rates, etc. There's always a big lag on those, and so it will take time for them to show up, but we do expect it to be very significant. We have a rapid response team at the department that is responsible for helping workers in situations where they're losing their job. They also just monitor situations like this, and just from media reports alone, I think we have noted 80 businesses so far where operations have been interrupted, and I'm sure that that's very much undercounting the reality of it. So we'll have numbers over time, but we probably need to get the full picture looking at what business owners are telling us as well. I mean, Julian, I don't know if you have anything to share on that.
Yeah, I mean, I can only speak for our experience right now, but across the board, whether you're a small business or big business, the numbers are big. Like just in our, the last month, 2 months and a half, with the winter, with how cold it's been, and this situation, for us, it's been hundreds of thousands of dollars in gross revenues that we haven't, that we just haven't gotten. We were able to kind of slow down and cut different costs these last couple of weeks, and we still made payroll 2 payrolls. The community has helped us a lot too. They've bought gift card, bought merch. We have a GoFundMe for the staff. They've donated to that. So all of that was split up between the 130 employees that we have, and we also matched what it all came out to, so they could get something. And apart from that, we communicate with them every day. People leave things at the restaurants. We bring them in. We communicate with them, and we bring it to them, or they send something to us, or someone to pick it up. So that's just our experience, but everybody else here probably is feeling the same thing.
Sure. I mean, at the City of St. Paul, we've actually convened a number of groups to talk to businesses, and one particular one in the Latinx community. There was about 30 to 35 people that were at that one. And consistently what we heard from everyone is that business is down 60 to 70%. I would be interested, once we have the data, I know that there's a lag in that, but to really see that, if you walk through the Mungtong markets and Hmong Village and some of our East African restaurants and establishments, you'll see that there's nobody in those places. And in some of the markets, most of the booths have their shutters down, so like they're not even open. And when I asked one woman who was there, I said, how many customers did you have today? She said 0. And this is on a weekend where the parking lot would normally be full and there's nowhere to park. And I asked her, why do you keep coming in if nobody's here? And she said, it is the only thing I can do to keep myself busy so that I'm not thinking about what is happening to my family and to my neighbors. And she said it's costing her more to be there than to just be at home. And this is not just the economic cost. When I was in some of these places, I saw young kids there. And I asked them, I said, do you have school today? And they said, I do. And I said, so you're not going to school? And they said, no. And I said, well, tell me a little bit about why. And the young girl looked at me in the eyes, and her eyes started welting, but she said, I'm afraid to go to school. And parents were telling me they had their kids with them because they were asking their kids, they would prefer that they could see their kids and be with their kids. So like there's not only the economic cost, there's the education cost, there's the disparities that we'll see in education outcome because of that. I mean, there's many, many costs that we're going to be feeling from this for years to come.
Question here. I'm being proposed on this now. This is for the mayor or the commissioner. I'm curious, with the effect that you've already seen this is having on small businesses, can you just share any concerns you have about the possible economic implications of a sustained presence of immigration personnel here? Just a little bit more long term. Just any concerns about what the long term impacts is?
Massive concerns, and to think that this is being done to us by the federal government, which one would hope cares about national economic growth. We've talked for quite a while now about the federal policies that have been slowing down the labor market, slowing down economic expansion. That's all difficult to deal with. And then the fact that Minnesota, as a donor state to the federal government that pays in more than we get in services, to think that we are paying the salaries of the people that are causing this harm, that's all very galling. And then we are so proud in Minnesota to be a welcoming state where talent from all over the world arrives and then contributes to our community and becomes part of our fabric. That, of course, is now being slowed significantly, which gets specifically to your question about long-term impacts. When you talk to higher ed, it is harder for students from other places to get here and to do their studies and do their research and fall in love and become Minnesotans. So on a daily basis, we are losing out on that kind of talent, and it certainly will have long-term ripple effects. We need this to stop, and we need to be able to get back to the wonderful progress we've been making in Minnesota. The governor talks often about having this be the best place for children and families, and we believe that it is. We recently saw statistics 2 days ago indicating that after a 20-year period in which we almost always had negative net domestic migration, that finally, for the first time this decade, we have positive domestic migration into Minnesota because people are excited about what we're building here, paid family and medical leave and all the investments we've made in education. The international migration, though, that we've traditionally also relied upon for talent is severely being reduced, and the chaos and uncertainty associated with this operation make it harder for people to make the choice to become Minnesotans.
Can I just add to that?
Please.
I think that the conversation is focused around what we would consider undocumented, but we know that the federal government has given free rein to target people by the way that they look and by the way that they sound. That means that a lot of people who are here legally or who are citizens are also being targeted as well. And so the long-term effect of that is that even if I am a citizen and I'm thinking about where it is that I want to work or a state that I might feel safe in working in, I'm not going to choose Minnesota because of that. There will be long-term consequences to us having been a state that has been welcoming to all kinds of talent coming into our city. We are a huge farming and agriculture state. That even when people have the right documentation and they have their citizenship, whether they're naturalized or they were born here, that they are afraid to go out in order to go do their jobs. And so we will see the impact of that for years to come in people's decision to come and be a part of our industries, or people choosing not to go out to work because of that. We have people who work in the trades, who people here who have the proper documentation to do so. And yet if their sites are being targeted, people's choices to go into these trades will have long-term consequences. So I think that we have to understand that this will have ripple effects in many, many industries. And it's because there are legal and citizens who are actually holding these jobs because of the way that they look and the way that they sound are being targeted. And I'm concerned about what that looks like for the next few years to come.
I'd like to add one more thing. Yeah. Minnesota faces a vexing problem in that our population growth is slow. And we know that there are industries, businesses that struggle with workforce. We know across the state of Minnesota that essential services, childcare, healthcare, care in nursing homes, agriculture, are populated with people who have come from other places in the world to come and live and work here in the state of Minnesota, and we need them.
That's right.
And instead of this surge, this occupation, this Congress and this president, with the power that they have, could fix immigration and make immigration an onboarding path for people to come from different parts of the world to work and live in states across the country. They're not doing that. And it's going to hurt Minnesota profoundly. Our workplaces, our communities across the state. One last thing. We're in St. Paul right now, but if you spend time, especially those of you who are traveling here, in rural parts of the state of Minnesota, there are small communities that were drying up, that were fading away, that have been reinvigorated with the vibrancy of immigrant communities who are working and living and starting small businesses. And if we believe in a whole state that works for the people of Minnesota, Operation Metro Surge is hurting us. We need to find a path for legal immigration that works for people so we can continue to grow and thrive here, right here in Minnesota.
Thank you, Senator. Anybody else?
Thanks for your time.
Yeah.